Something extraordinary is happening inside General Motors. Something far bigger, far deeper, and far more disruptive than any headline has managed to capture. On the surface, the story looks simple: new tariffs, rising costs, and uneasy investors. But beneath that, a hidden fuse was burning for months, waiting for the exact moment when America's auto supply chain would be stretched thin enough to snap. And once it did, the shockwaves didn't just hit GM. They ripped across Detroit, Canada, Mexico, Korea, Europe, and right back into Washington, igniting a political firestorm that no one had prepared for. The tariffs were sold as a patriotic push to protect American jobs. But instead of rescuing factories, they triggered a chain reaction that exposed how vulnerable GM's operations had become. In a single quarter, billions of dollars evaporated. Hundreds of suppliers faced bankruptcy-level strain. Workers across multiple states were sent home with no warning, and entire product lines teetered on the edge of being paused, delayed, or quietly abandoned. Yet here's the twist. The crisis didn't unfold dramatically in one explosive moment. It built up quietly, one delayed shipment, one sudden cost surge, one tariff bracket change at a time. The real story is not just the financial hit, but the structural fragility it exposed. GM wasn't simply dealing with tariffs, it was wrestling with an economic storm years in the making. This report takes you inside the numbers, inside the factories, inside the political battleground, and inside the global network that is now struggling to hold itself together. Because GM's troubles are no longer just GM's problem. They represent a defining stress test for the entire North American auto economy, and the results are more unsettling than anyone expected. Real quick, if you're into videos that cut through the noise and break things down clearly, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps more people find this. And if you're not subscribed yet, now's a good time. We've got more deep dives coming your way. Also, drop a comment and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your take. Now onto the video. When the White House implemented a 25% tariff on imported vehicles and components in April 2025, analysts expected turbulence, but not devastation. What followed blindsided even GM's own financial team. Within weeks, GM internally calculated that the new tariffs would strip an astonishing $4.5 billion from its 2025 earnings. This wasn't just a painful hit, it was a direct threat to the company's long-term strategic platforms, particularly its Ultium EV program. The reason the impact was so severe comes down to one uncomfortable truth. GM's business model, like the rest of the industry, is deeply dependent on a globally integrated supply chain. Despite efforts to localize manufacturing, most GM models still rely on 40% imported components, from electronics and sensors to metal castings and specialized drivetrain parts. Suddenly, nearly every one of those components fell under the new charging scheme. A steering knuckle that cost $28 shot up to $36. Electronic modules jumped by 20–25%. Critical battery minerals, already expensive, now faced price spikes that turned every Ultium cell into a cost liability. Even raw materials weren't spared. Steel and aluminum tariffs added another layer of unavoidable inflation. The combined effect? A typical GM truck now carried an extra $3,200 in production costs before it even rolled off the line. GM initially tried to absorb the blow, temporarily shielding consumers, but Wall Street didn't tolerate the hit. Shareholders forced GM into mid-year price increases, which dealers reluctantly passed on. Meanwhile, suppliers, especially smaller Tier 2 and Tier 3 manufacturers, were crushed by the sudden cost surge. At least a dozen quietly shut down operations or froze hiring, sending stress signals through the supply chain. What began as a policy aimed at strengthening American manufacturing had now become the catalyst for a spiral GM couldn't slow down, and the next phase of the fallout would strike the one place no automaker can afford to see disruption: the factory floor. As GM's cost structure buckled under the tariff shock, the next fracture appeared where it hurts the most: production. But unlike dramatic, company-wide shutdowns, what actually unfolded was more subtle and far more revealing of the system's hidden weaknesses. Across North America, GM's manufacturing network began experiencing what insiders called elastic idling. Plants weren't collapsing outright. They were stuttering, hesitating, and falling out of sync with the supply chain that once fed them like clockwork. Factory Zero in Detroit became the first visible sign of trouble. On April 11th, the line went quiet, and 200 workers were dismissed for the day, officially due to slowing demand. But off-camera, employees whispered about missing shipments and cost overruns. Within 2 weeks, the pattern spread. The Ingersoll Cami plant in Ontario was forced to halt production of bright drop vans until October, an unprecedented pause that put 1,200 workers on temporary layoff. Oshawa's truck line cut its overnight shift, wiping out another 700 jobs and signaling deeper production uncertainty. Suppliers were the first domino to fall. Tier 2 manufacturers in Tennessee and Indiana, unable to keep up with inflated parts costs, shut down entire facilities. Adient, a major seating supplier, closed 2 plants, instantly eliminating 400 union jobs. Every closure reverberated through GM's ecosystem, turning predictable supply rhythms into unpredictable bottlenecks. Local economies felt the pinch immediately. Michigan diners saw foot traffic collapse by up to 40% overnight. Independent machine shops, trucking services and logistics providers found themselves cut off from work they once considered guaranteed. Even dealerships reported unusual inventory gaps, as certain models became harder to build consistently. This wasn't a temporary pause, it was the unraveling of a system designed for stability. And the next blow would hit GM's most ambitious bet, the electric future it had poured billions into. For years, GM positioned itself as the vanguard of America's electric transformation. Ultium batteries, sprawling EV factories, and a bold promise to phase out gasoline engines created the image of unstoppable momentum. But the tariffs didn't just slow GM's EV ambitions, they collided head-on with them. It began with the sudden repeal of the $7,500 federal EV tax credit. Overnight, EVs became dramatically more expensive for consumers, especially those already wary of rising insurance premiums and higher electricity rates. At the same time, Congress froze funding for national charging infrastructure, choking off the growth of the very ecosystem EVs needed to thrive. Then came the tariff-driven surge in mineral costs. Lithium, nickel, graphite, essential for Ultium, shot up in price. GM's internal reports suggested battery modules were now 20–30% more expensive than projected. By May, the consequences were visible on Factory Zero's vast lots. Rows of unsold Silverado EVs covered in protective plastic, sitting under the heat as their battery health quietly deteriorated. Internal estimates revealed an even more alarming figure. GM needed to sell 100,000 Ultium trucks annually just to break even, but 2025 projections hovered around 65,000. Each unsold EV tied up an average of $45,000 of capital. Some buyers returned to gasoline trucks, citing uncertain charging access. Others opted out altogether, choosing to wait for prices to stabilize. Even 0% financing, once a powerful incentive, no longer convinced hesitant customers. As these challenges collided, GM quietly throttled EV production to slow the build-up of unsold inventory. Meetings behind closed doors debated whether to scale back multiple EV models until economic conditions improved. GM's EV revolution wasn't ending, but the momentum had fractured, and the resulting uncertainty triggered the next wave of turmoil, a growing divide among workers and unions. Inside the plants, the narrative around tariffs was far more complicated than political speeches suggested. Workers who once viewed tariffs as a patriotic shield began questioning whether the policy was actually costing them their livelihoods. The emotional and economic strain cut across factory floors, union halls, and entire communities. UAW President Shawn Fain publicly praised the tariffs as a bold step to protect American jobs. But on the Canadian side, Unifor condemned GM for prioritizing US political optics over Canadian workers' stability. This clash put workers in an uncomfortable spotlight. Supporting tariffs meant potentially harming colleagues abroad. Opposing tariffs risked being labeled unpatriotic or anti-American. Inside Detroit area factories, conversations turned tense. Veterans of past shutdowns recalled the pain of Lordstown 2019. Younger workers, who had never experienced deep layoffs, suddenly found themselves on edge as overtime evaporated and idling days increased. Many feared losing the stability that auto jobs once guaranteed. Mortgage bills, childcare expenses, and rising living costs heightened those anxieties. Corporate leadership didn't help ease tensions. While publicly projecting confidence, insiders reported GM quietly accelerating cost-cutting measures, freezing hiring across several departments, and delaying planned expansions. Workers felt caught between political forces, corporate priorities, and global supply pressures, all while their weekly paychecks became less predictable. Even union leaders found themselves navigating shifting loyalties among members. Some locals demanded aggressive action to counter layoffs. Others urged caution, hoping short-term sacrifices might prevent long-term plant closures. This friction between workers, unions, and corporate leaders wasn't just emotional. It reshaped the company's internal stability, and as internal tensions mounted, another force was gathering strength across borders, ready to amplify GM's challenges, the global ripple effects hitting other automakers. GM's internal crisis did not stay within American borders. As soon as production slowed and forecast numbers dropped, the shockwaves raced through the global automotive ecosystem, a network so deeply interconnected that one company's stumble can disrupt factories thousands of miles away. This time, GM's tariff-related downturn became the spark that exposed broader vulnerabilities across international auto manufacturing. The most immediate impact showed up in Canada. Stellantis' Windsor assembly plant, home of the last minivan operation in North America, found its carefully balanced schedule thrown into chaos. Parts delays and cost spikes forced the plant into a rollercoaster pattern of shift cancellations and brief operating windows. More than 900 workers in Michigan and Indiana tied to minivan components faced temporary layoffs as inventories fluctuated wildly. Dealers reported lots filling with unsold Pacificas, even as production struggled to stay consistent due to surging Chinese parts prices. In Europe, the Volvo Group felt the squeeze. Tariffs on imported heavy-duty components made US-bound trucks significantly more expensive. Fleet buyers who once counted on predictable pricing suddenly hesitated, balking at rigs that jumped from $165,000 overseas to nearly $180,000 after tariff adjustments. As a result, Volvo warned that over 1,000 US workers across its Pennsylvania and Virginia plants could face temporary layoffs. Meanwhile, in South Korea, anxiety surged. GM Korea exports 88% of its production to the US, but under new tariff costs, those vehicles were no longer competitive. Insiders quietly feared a replay of GM's Australian exit in 2017, an abrupt, devastating withdrawal that dismantled an entire national auto lineage. Hyundai and Kia moved quickly, accelerating plans to expand their US operations in Alabama and Georgia. But those new facilities won't become fully operational until 2027, far too late to ease the immediate pressure. These ripple effects revealed something larger. The entire global auto sector had underestimated how severely one policy shift in Washington could destabilize an entire industry. And GM, already fighting on multiple fronts, now had to chart a path through three very different and increasingly uncertain futures. Inside GM's Renaissance Center headquarters, planners began drawing up what insiders described as three branching timelines. Three possible futures that depended entirely on shifting political decisions, supply chain resilience, and consumer demand. Each scenario carried its own risks, and none offered a clear path back to stability. The best-case scenario, while optimistic, was still fragile. It assumed Brazilian wire harnesses and Mexican engine components would resume steady flow by late June, allowing GM to restart full output of its highest-margin trucks in Fort Wayne and Oshawa. Under this plan, the company would meet its adjusted target of 65,000 Ultium EV trucks for 2025, far below original ambitions, but enough to sustain the program. Margins would remain razor-thin but positive. The catch: this scenario required no new tariffs, stable mineral prices, and quickly restored consumer confidence. The middle path was far more complicated. In this scenario, July brought additional tariffs targeting Japanese and Korean automotive electronics, infotainment modules, sensors, and advanced driver assistance systems. These components, already expensive, would skyrocket in cost, forcing GM to reduce output on multiple vehicle lines. Washington gridlock would prevent relief, leaving companies with no option but deeper cost cuts. Insiders warned that this timeline would trigger worries among credit agencies, raising the possibility of a downgrade that would push GM's borrowing costs even higher. The worst-case scenario was the one executives discussed quietly, behind closed doors. In this outcome, geopolitical tensions would escalate, prompting China to restrict exports of rare earth minerals essential for motors and batteries. Without those materials, Ultium production would halt indefinitely. Plants in the US and Canada would go dark. GM's global inventory would shrink to historic lows. Debt ratings could plunge, and layoffs would spread rapidly across North America. GM's struggle in 2025 is no longer just the story of one company navigating a difficult policy environment. It has become a broader reflection of the fragile balance underpinning the entire North American automotive landscape. The tariff shock, the supply chain fractures, the EV slowdown, the union tensions, and the global ripple effects all converge into a single, undeniable truth. The auto industry is experiencing a structural stress test unlike anything in recent memory. The events unfolding across GM reveal how deeply interconnected the system truly is. A policy designed to bring manufacturing home unexpectedly exposed how reliant the industry remains on foreign minerals, electronics, and specialized components. A push to accelerate EV adoption collided with rising consumer costs and a shrinking incentive structure. Ambitious electrification strategies championed for years were suddenly forced to reconcile with the reality of unstable prices, hesitant buyers, and supply chains stretched far beyond their intended limits. But perhaps the most significant takeaway is what this moment signals about the future. The challenges facing GM today, cost volatility, geopolitical risk, shifting consumer sentiment, are not temporary disruptions. They are symptoms of a larger transition that every automaker must confront. The industry is standing at a crossroads where every decision carries long-term consequences. Move too slowly on innovation, and companies risk falling behind global competitors. Move too aggressively without reinforcing supply chains, and they risk catastrophes like the one unfolding now. For GM, the path forward will require more than cost-cutting, temporary layoffs, or careful messaging to investors. It will demand a fundamental reassessment of where parts come from, how EV programs are structured, and how to build resilience into every layer of manufacturing. The stakes are high, not just for GM's stock price, but for tens of thousands of workers, suppliers, and communities that depend on the stability of the auto economy. Once again, thanks for watching this video. If you got something out of this, hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. And hey, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Agree, disagree, or something in between. I'd love to hear it.